G'day! Time to revisit an old favourite, which is the Anaconda, which I drew in St. Louis. But today I'm going to be drawing it in the studio. I'm going to probably make up a bit. I want it to be sort of cartoony, illustration and fun. Here goes. So I'm starting off with very little reference at all, and so most of this is going to be made up, which is why it's going to look a bit like a superhero comic, I hope. But it's going to have a lot of heavy dark ink outline, but before I do that I need to meticulously mark out where I'm going to pop all the scales. I don't normally do this with a bow or a python, but in this case I'm going to relax and take my time, marking in like a brick wall pattern. And you can do this and replace every brick with a scale. Well, there's another little trick you can do to make a honeycomb effect, which is what I'm doing here. Just sort of a zigzag line between, joining up the dots. Then you can replace those honeycomb shapes with a scale. Just a neat little trick as to how to draw snakes. Okay, so the pencils are finished. I'm now getting on with, I've got a very fine liner brush here. Now these brushes are sometimes called rigger's brush. This one's a really fine one. I think I got that from Trick now. Anyway, Indian ink. I like doing cartoons this way. It sort of gives a really bold, sort of cartoony look. Using the liner gives these very smooth lines, and what I'm trying to do here is make it look cartoony. I'm just making this up. I have no photo reference or anything for water. I'm making this water up, and that's why it's going to look cartoony. Sometimes I just think cartoons look better than realistic painting. I just like to look at cartoons. Just using an eraser here to rub out all the pencil lines. I've actually let it dry for a couple of hours before I actually did that, so that was nice and dry, so I'm not going to smudge any of that Indian ink. I'm going to use a brush here. What is that? A number 4 brush, just a round brush here. And that's what I'm going to colour most of this in with. Now, I'm one of these guys that was never good as a kid colouring stuff in. However, as an artist, you know, I go over the line sometimes. I kind of don't care. I'm a bit rough. I like to slap it on a bit hard sometimes. So what you notice here is that I have got the white. What you're seeing is the colour all around the white swirly bits. Makes the white swirly bits sort of have a surface, and you sort of see it looks a little bit watery. It's a good cartoon representation of water anyway. Well, this coronavirus lockdown is something. I thought it'd be a real paradise, you know, just drawing all the time, but I just have to get up and stretch occasionally. Go in the backyard and swing a sword around, do some exercises, stretch. Then I'm right for another few hours of this. But here in Australia at the moment, if you found outside without a good reason, you get fined over $1,000. But for the most part, I'm okay with that, because we don't want it to go like some of the other countries where there's thousands of people dying. So Australia is sort of okay at the moment. I wonder what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Next, I'm using a bit of white gouache. I always like to drop a bit of white gouache in on a watercolor. Of course, some would say it's cheating. I don't care. I'm just getting the image I want. So the head of the anaconda is not showing up as much as I'd like. The background white swirly bits, because it's stark black and white, is competing with the head. I'm going to make some of those white bits grey. I'm just going to start off using a watercolor pencil. So colouring in with watercolor, and then I add a bit of water to that to grey that up. Okay, I'm sort of sick of using that watercolour pencil, so now I'm going to use just Payne's Grey watercolour and just oomph that up a little bit more, because I want to make that head come forward a bit more. Right, I think that's done it. I'm fairly happy with that. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Catch me in the next video, or maybe just look at the videos here. Binge watch. You're in lockdown, why not? See you later.